EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Martich here with your outlook for November 11th, 2022. Happy Veterans Day to all of my fellow servicemen and women who selflessly served the country at some point during your lifetimes. It is greatly appreciated, and my hats go off to all of you, all of my brothers and sisters who served with me, or before me, or after me. So here is today's map. Of course, we have the remnants of Nicole moving through the region today. It is not no longer a hurricane or tropical storm. This is going to become a transition to a post-tropical cyclone at this point, which is just means a fancy name for a regular low-pressure system. And we're going to get the rain from that today, and some other impacts as well, and I'll go through that here in today's video. First and foremost, the Friday video forecast is proudly sponsored by Nicole Collective Brewing. Nicole is a family-owned and operated business with 2 locations in the Lehigh Valley. Their original Southside Allentown location at 102 East Susquehanna Street is open 7 days a week and features a full food menu, over 17 different beers to choose from, and new ones constantly being introduced. Generally every week, along with local wine and cocktails, and they have trivia nights every single Wednesday evening. At their second location, McCall Collective Tap House in Trexlertown, located at 7743 Hamilton Boulevard, you can find 10 beers on draft, along with a house-smoked barbecue menu that is now also open 7 days a week. For more information, visit their Facebook page, or to place online orders, visit their website, McCallCollectiveBrewing.com, proud sponsors of the Friday video forecast. So you can see above me, temperatures are going to be pretty warm today. 67 to 71 is a spread, and that's because of that moist, warm southerly flow ahead of this system. Now, this system today is going to come in 3 waves. You're going to have showers come in this morning, some moderate rain mixed in there, going up to about noon or maybe a little after that. Then you get a little short break. Then mid to late afternoon, you get another batch of showers coming through, or rain. Okay, and then an extended break, we think, with a dry slot. And then you get the last batch of this swinging through. So here's the first initial batch coming through this morning. And it doesn't separate the two on here. I'll show you the name in a second, which does. Okay, and then you notice in between here, you get this dry slot. This is very common with a low-pressure center that is this strong. So you have this big low sitting out here in western PA and this big comma head right here, right? So that is what's, you have a dry slot in between there, and that's going to happen at some point this evening, where it won't be doing much of anything except maybe a little bit of drizzle or nothing at all, okay? The back end here is still going to have to swing through here, however, and that's going to come through during the overnight. That is round 3, okay? So here is that NAM high-res future simulated radar, just to show you what this is going to do as it moves through, and this is starting off this morning at 7 a.m. You can follow the timestamp in the upper right-hand corner as I move this forward. And so this goes up through the morning. And the far eastern areas might not get into much of this, closer to the shore points, but the interior will, and you'll have some light to moderate rainfall with this going all the way into early afternoon. You might get a little bit of a break in here, and then here is the second batch coming through. Could be some heavier embedded rain with there as that moves through. But then after that, and that's mid to late afternoon, after that, you get this large, very large dry slot in between here where it's not going to be doing anything for a while this evening, right? So there's 6 o'clock, right? There's 7, there's 8. 8 o'clock doesn't show doing anything at all, but you still have all this has to move through, and that will do so overnight. That is round 3, okay? And this moves through. This is 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Maybe a leftover shower in northern New Jersey, and that's it. But the rest of us are going to be clouds giving way to sun on Saturday, okay? The cold front itself and on the lead of the trough is actually going to move through Saturday evening. So that's going to be a little bit later. Can't rule out an isolated shower as that does move through, but so it's still going to be mild here on Saturday. 60 to 68 is the spread in temperatures on Saturday, but then that is the transition day because you get in the overnight and that front moves through. Sunday's a lot colder on the other side of that. And temperatures will be back in the upper 40s to near 50, and then either side of the middle 40s as we get to Monday and Tuesday of next week, but we are expecting dry days each of those days. When we get to Wednesday, Tuesday night, Wednesday, we might have a little issue here with some frozen precipitation here, and I will get to that in a second. First and foremost, here is the total rainfall. This has been very consistent over the past couple of days that I've done the video here, where we have these areas north and west of this line here is all your 2-inch plus areas. This area in here is kind of 1 to 1.5 in between these areas, right? And this is less than 1 inch. Now, I will say the caveat to this, you'll notice right over the Poconos here, okay, you have higher elevations. You have some orographic lift, which is a southeasterly wind component pressing against those mountains and just kind of squeezing out extra precipitation. So those areas could get a little higher than the surrounding areas in the lower elevations that are getting 1 to 1.5. These areas might end with, over 2 inches in some spots, okay? So there will be some of that playing a factor. But other than that, we're generally dealing with, there's your 2-inch line up in these areas, right? This is 1 to about 1.5, and this is less than 1 down here, right? Except for that area right there, which gets the added lift from this particular system. So that's your total precipitation. The other side of this is the winds. This is accumulated wind gusts for the entire event and the top wind. So most of your wind gusts are going to be 25 to 35. Commonly, the gusts are going to be 25 to 35. There could be some peak gusts that get into the upper 30s, maybe as high as 40 out of this. And if you get down to the shore points, it might get up to 45, actually. Okay. But this is the worst case scenario at any point when the low pressure is at its closest point, and that most likely occurs during the evening on Friday, right? So this is what you're looking at for top wind. So it's nothing like it was. I know it was a hurricane before, and it was a tropical storm before. This is not like that anymore, and this is a shell of its former self. This is still some gusty winds can knock out power, but it's not going to be as widespread. If this thing made landfall in New Jersey at that strength, this would be a lot higher than that. This is a lot different of a scenario. Okay. And then after this point, of course, we have temperatures transitioning here on Saturday, and that front comes through, and then the cold front moves through, and you get the colder temperatures in moving Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week. And then we get a little bit of a break here on Wednesday, slightly, where it's only slightly below average instead of below average, but then you have another surge coming in after that. That goes through the following weekend. And this actually goes to the end of the loop here. I've been showing this just about every day. This goes all the way to the morning of the 25th, and it's still slightly below average at that point. So we're going to be in this for a while, okay? That's without a doubt. And taking this forward here, now I want to go touch on the Wednesday system because, first of all, here's that front coming through. It's kind of losing steam as it moves eastward, but I can't roll out a shower later on Saturday evening as that does move through. And then we are dry all the way up until we get to Tuesday night. Now, I'm going to switch this purposely over to a precipitation type map here. So you can see the blues are actually snow. And there is the opportunity for some interior snow at the onset of this precipitation. I do think you change over to rain. At least that's the way it looks like right now. We're going to keep looking at this over the next several days. But there could be some snowflakes at least mixing with the rain, or starting off with some light snow in places like Williamsport, Selinsgrove, State College, the higher elevations up here in the Poconos and north central Pennsylvania. I don't see that being a big issue because this is generally light precipitation to begin with, but there could be something minor for that we'll have to keep an eye on here for Tuesday night. And it's coming in at a time. It's a thread the needle situation, which is kind of what you need in November, just like you need this in late March. You need a thread the needle situation where things have to be timed and tracked perfectly in order to give you the snow. And this is one of those cases, okay? So you could have enough cold at the onset to give you some snow or maybe a couple sleet pellets, something. We'll get into those details again next week, but it looks like the GFS and European model are in pretty good agreement with that, but it does change it over to rain going into Wednesday morning, and then the system pulls away, and then Thursday is a partly cloudy day in its wake. So we're going to continue to follow that particular system next week when we get a little bit closer, have better finely tuned details. But for right now, we're obviously concerned about this system, which is coming through today. Again, 3 waves. You're going to have the showers and periods of rain this morning. It goes in early afternoon, maybe a short break there, and then mid to late afternoon to get another batch come through, a shorter duration batch, but could have some heavier rain with it, right? And then you get a long break for several hours before the third round comes in. And by the time it's all said and done, you're looking at this generally for rainfall total. So, and then Saturday looks good. Saturday looks pretty good for at least the daylight hours. Might have a shower in the evening. But other than that, it's going to be turning colder, and it's going to remain cold for a while. I'm EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Marchers. That is your outlook for November 11th, 2022. Have a great Friday. Happy Veterans Day.